You know why I never have a shortage of videos to respond to? You want to know why I'll always have some form of content brewing for this platform that I'm on? I'll tell you why. Because of coons like this.
It needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote unquote black community. But it goes deeper than that because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. But the interesting part is the lie that's been sold to the black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character. That's why in the black community, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you are acting white when they're talking to someone like myself who doesn't act the way most people would expect a conventional black person to act. In their minds, there is a correct way to act black. And the people in your ethnic group who fulfill those very negative stereotypes, those are the ones who are going to essentially drag down the collective whole. And that's why there's individuals who are black who do and can have black fatigue, because they see how damaging it is to see the worst of us attract all this negative attention that then unfortunately gets ascribed to the entire race all too often. But what's unfortunate is here in 2025, now we have to contend with the fact that there's people who are so sick and tired of seeing those negative aspects, those negative individuals in the black community attracting all this attention. That's what is spurring this black fatigue.
It's really funny to me how you'll have somebody sit there and talk about black fatigue. Oh my gosh. People come for me because of the way I talk and the way that I articulate myself. No, people come for you because you're a coon. You're a coon. You're a coonie. Right? And this is why I made that whole other rant talking about how y'all need to stop giving everything to white people, because y'all just search for white validation. It's a psychological thing, right? You don't have something as successful as white supremacy that other people and other communities and several different types of cultures that were also colonized and had to deal with some form of white supremacy. You don't sit there and have that happen globally and not have to deal with the repercussions of that. And not have to deal with the psychological repercussions of that. Because there's somebody here, I never thought I would see a black man, still to this day, right, going around talking about black fatigue. Hey, the reason that white people are upset and they called you the N-word is because their feelings hurt, and they're just tired. They're tired of you guys acting a fool. But when white people act a fool, what happens? When a white dude goes and murders somebody, we get a Netflix documentary. We get a podcast. We get a Sunday special. But when some random black dude in the hood shoots somebody, see, now that's the reason why I don't trust those people. It's so disingenuous. Like, that really shows the full extent of what it means to be a minority, right? Because in order to be a minority, you have to deal with being constantly put up to this higher expectation of what it means to be a civilized human being. You don't get the spectrum, right? White people, they can sit there and do something, and that's not representative of all white people. Black people do it, right? It's destructive to all black people. Sexy Red out here shaking her butt, with Justin Bieber, talking about hoochie coochie, and suddenly all black women deserve to be treated like shit. They deserve to be ran over in the dirt. And you know what? If a white man comes and saves them, and comes and bibbity bobbity boo their ass to a mansion and their trade wife and they're living their best life, then you know what? Massa deserves all the praise. It's sad, really. It's sad. It's sad. Because it's kind of pathetic to me, right? If you're going to come and critique the black community, then critique everybody. We are not the only ones with gangs. We are not the only ones that have all the other stuff that's going on. And let's be really honest about this, right? It's not our fault that Hollywood only likes to export hood films, ratchet films, ratchet music. We have other types of music and other types of art. But just like at the beginning of art itself, which we were a part of as black people, right? There has always been a censoring. The people who run these industries, these billion-dollar industries like Hollywood, a good amount of them are white people. Now you may say, well, Alice, they're liberal white people. Well, they're still white. And so at the end of the day, there has been a censoring. There has been people who are looking at these films, if they actually do look at the films. What's that about? Oscars. What's that about? Looking at these films, looking at all these other different media, a lot of these different people that own these studios, these record labels, are white. And so at the end of the day, they're pushing out certain narratives and dipping into certain markets. They're not trying to sit there and make these particular type of black people in the media poets and give them the spectrum and let them be seen as multifaceted beings in this community that is black. We don't get to have that. And so let's be honest about this particular critique. Let's be honest about this analysis of black people and black barbarian behavior. Let's be honest. Because it's really tiresome having to deal with coons and coonettes on the internet monetizing off of their cooning. Because they do not want to sit here and actually be allies and actually be people, not allies, people who actually give a fuck about the community in a real way, right? Like, what are you talking about? You know why, white people called you the N-word? Because you were being mean. And you had a gun and you were acting like a ruffian. Why is a white person in the hood anyway? Why is a white person in these neighborhoods anyway if they're so scared, if they don't want to be there? Then stay in your suburb. Stay in your home, Stacy. Okay, Malcolm? Malcolm's in the middle because he's middle class. And so he should be happy to be where he's at. And not around these hood people and these hooligans and these ruffians. And if they're so violent, just do what you've always done. Shoot them dead. Thank you.